So it's November 16th, 2021. It's been a couple of weeks ago since I finished my racing season. It was at the Ironman on Mallorca, and after that race I did 2 weeks of totally no training. So that's always where I try to refreshen the mind and the body before we start training towards the season 2022. And now I am in my third week of getting back to training. So I always struggle a little bit when I start going back to training, especially in the water. It takes some time for me to get back into a decent shape, decent fitness. I always see that my heart rate is quite high at the first weeks. But slowly getting back and start feeling a little bit better. So in this video I'm gonna take you guys with me in my evaluation of last season. So we actually can start at the swim, I guess. So the swimming has been very good for me this season. I think it's the best swimming season I've ever had in my years in triathlon. So I've been starting at 3 different full distance triathlon. It was the trade in Girona. It was the ITU World Championship in Almere, and it was the Ironman on Mallorca. And in all those 3 races I managed to get out of the water in the second group. It was like 50 minutes, 49 minutes, and in Mallorca it was 48 minutes out of the water with guys like Cam Wurf, Christian Heugenhaug, guys with a lot of class and with high level actually. So that was very good thing for me, and it gave me a lot of confidence for the other races which are coming up, and it gives me a lot of confidence for next season as well. So what do I have been doing differently this season regarding the swim than the last couple of seasons? First and foremost, I started training with some other guys in my swimming pool. So I used to always train by myself in the last years. Which was alright, but I never could really push myself to a new level. And since October last year, I started training with some young guns from the neighborhood, which have quite a high level in swimming. And I've seen that my swimming level has gone up as well. I started pushing myself a little bit, trying to keep up with these guys, learn from these guys, technique-wise, and it has been going really good so far. And I think I have been swimming a lot more in open water for training as well than previous years. I've always not been swimming very much open water because I don't have that much people in the neighborhood who I can swim with, and swimming on your own in the open water is not really a very best or good option, I guess. So I've been finding a couple of guys who I've been swimming with this year. And that has been really helpful to up my level in swimming as well. So in overall the swim was actually very good. I'm really happy about it. Of course I'm out of the water now in the second group, and there's always room for improvement to get out of water in the first group. But I think that gap is still there, and it's like most of the times it's like 2-minute gap. There's not something you can just cut down to in one winter, but it's time to just keep improving, keep working on this technique, especially in the winter months. And let's see what next year will bring for the swim. So in my swimming pool I've been playing Squid Game for a lot of years already. If your technique is not good, you will get eliminated. If you don't listen to the coach, you will get eliminated. But I am still here. So then on to the cycling part of 2021. So how did my season go? If we take a look at the cycling, I think it went pretty good. So in my first race, that was in the trade-in full distance triathlon in Girona, I felt really strong on the bike. and I managed to ride my way into like it was like 5th position in the race. And then at 160k I crashed, which was not really good, but my level was over there really strong. I was really happy about it. And then the next races, it was like 2 months later, we're going really good as well. I think I never managed to get such a high wattage out in races, in half distances or other races. So it was very strong. For example, at a half Ironman in Poland last year, I averaged around 300 watts, and this year I've averaged at the exact same course 320 watts over 90k. So yeah, there was quite a big difference than last year. So my cycling in the race in Almere was pretty solid as well. I rode 4 hours and 14 minutes over 180k. But after 130k I started feeling not so good anymore. So the last part of the race was really struggling. And at the Ironman of Mallorca it was quite strong as well. It was a little bit of a shame. I was riding in such a big group, so it was not really easy to attack or get away from this group. So at this race I thought about just sit in the group and let the others do the work and keep your distance, and try and be fresh for the marathon a little bit, which didn't help me after all, but that's for later. So yeah, my cycling has been really good this season, better averages in wattages than before. What did I do differently this year than last year is, first of all, I started training indoors. So I never used to train indoors. Riding on Zwift I never did before. I never had a good indoor trainer as well, so I always had an old thing, so I was not able to connect to a Zwift, for example. But yeah, a very good former Dutch swimmer, Maarten van der Weijden, has asked me at the beginning of this year to tag along with an indoor triathlon of his, full indoor triathlon. And that's when I started my Zwifting for the first time. And I actually liked it very much. Of course, I like cycling outside in nice weather and sun way more than going indoors, but it's a very good alternative in the winter. For example, when it's cold or it's raining, I think it's one of the best options if you combine indoor training with a movie or whatever with Zwifting. So it was quite easy for me to ride 4 hours indoors when it was raining outside and stuff like that. So indoor riding has been one of the things I started doing this year, and combining with some easy training, but also of course some intervals or some different blocks. So that's a big thing. Furthermore, I didn't do that much differently than last year. Of course, I always keep a momentum in cycling. I never do like a couple of weeks off, or for example in a training period, but it's all about consistency, and it's just about building and building and building until you come at the race specific period. And at this point in the last couple of weeks to a race, I really start doing some race specific works, for example like 1 hour race pace and things like that. But yeah, especially a couple of weeks before my biggest goal at the race in Almere, I had such a good and strong training. I think it was my best training ever on a bike. I had some other guys with me that day in my wheel that was very good, and that training gave me a lot of confidence going into the race in Almere. So looking at the next couple of months regarding for the cycling is, I don't think there is going to change that much if we take a look back at last year for me. As cycling has been really good last year, just try and take a look at it, what I've been doing last year, and just implement it again. And of course some different things, and we always try to go better and better, but it has been going really good, so why change it? So, and there will probably be some things with it which I can look at aerodynamica or some other things. So that's the cycling part. So last but not least is the running part in triathlon. So the running part has always been the most difficult part for me to get better and better. Where my swimming and cycling has been improving quite a lot, I think my running is still lacking a little bit. So I see this curve going up and up in getting better every year, but it's still, if I take a look at my competitors, for example, I'm still not at the level where I want and need to be if I want to be competitive and really competitive in an Ironman, for example. Now, actually, very recently, this guy called Gustav has been running 2 hours and 34 minutes in his first full distance triathlon. It's crazy and fast. And now everybody else knows what's the standard, and everybody knows that they have to train more, that they have to go faster, and especially for me, I see that my running part is still a little bit lacking regardless to the other guys. So for the next couple of months, it's all about the running. So what I've been doing differently in this year than in the last years is actually since 2019 I've been able to train constantly on the run. So in 2018 I had the big injury which I was talking about in my first video, the stress fracture, and that was a big lesson for me where I need to listen more to my body. So train easy when it's really time to go easy, and do the fast things good and controlled and fast as well. Last year in 2020 I ran a half marathon PB in triathlon, and then back then it was at the half Ironman in Poland, and I ran 117 high, I guess. And I've been doing a 5 kilometer and a 10 kilometer test last winter, where I both set some personal bests in 15:40 for the 5 and 33:20 for the 10. So how do I have been running in 2022 in my big races? So in the race in Girona I couldn't run because of the crash. At the half Ironman in Poland in August I set a half marathon PB again, and I've been running 1:16. So that was a very strong day for me. At the full distance race in Almere, I've been doing a marathon of 2 hours and 52 minutes. It was slightly short, but still quite a strong effort. And on the Ironman Mallorca was my marathon very, very bad. I probably think it was a little bit too short for me after the race in Almere. It was quite a big gamble, and I wanted to try my body out, see where my limits are. And even though my cycling was in average much more lower than at the race in Almere, I was not able to perform really well on the marathon. So it was from the beginning a long day from walking and running a little bit, and I did a marathon in 3 hours and I guess 34 minutes or so. But which I was really happy about and satisfied about is that I managed to finish that race and did not give up. So that was a big plus for me as well, big victory. So my goal for the running part for next season is that I want to run below 2 hours and 50 minutes in a full distance triathlon. So if I manage to do that, if I manage to improve to that level, I think that will be a very good starting base, and I think I can really be competitive at the big races. With a 2 hour 49, for example, you are not going to be winning Ironmans, but you are definitely getting closer to a top 10 and maybe top 5 in Ironman races. So how do I see this happening, and what am I going to be doing in the next couple of months? So first of all, I will be doing a lot more speed work. So I have not been doing any speed work last year. So as it has been only Ironman based training, my fast runs were always maximum 3 minutes 30 per kilometer pace. It was really like marathon based, and I've not been doing any track sessions this year, only once in Girona, but not so many, and that's something I'm going to be changing in the next couple of months. So I already did a track session last week. I'm going to be doing a track session tomorrow. So I would like to do a 5 kilometer test race very soon, and a couple of weeks later I want to do a 10 kilometer test race. See if I can get close or maybe even crush my personal bests from last winter. So that are short-term goals for the next couple of months, and I think until February I'm going to implement a lot of this speed work stuff, and from that point on I'm going to be training more volume based. Those are the last couple of months before we start looking at my first races again. but that's something for later on. We'll see about that. And so those are my plans for the next couple of months. I will be doing a lot of speed work, hope to improve on that part. And now it's time to work.